Ciao
Hi.
Daniela, hi.
Wow,
And,
Bella.
yeah, and enjoy the conversation and take care. Ciao Daniela, bye bye.
Ciao, thank you. Bye bye. Hello, I'm Daniela Calabi of Politecnico of Milano and Department of Design. And I'm eager to introduce you Professora Clice di Toledo, Sanjar Mazzilli. Hi, Clice.
Hi, Daniela.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. She works as professor of visual design at the School of Architecture and Urban Planning in Sao Paulo University. And we talking about world pandemic and change in territories. Clice, I'm very happy to be meeting you in this adventure of 24 hours around the world. You were chosen because of your profound experience to talk with us of one fundamental argument: the territory, the space of our life. So. We talk about the territory. When I think at the space of the city, I think of the scenario of different identities, of different perception, of different experience. So, Clice, what is territory for you? And how relevant is the concept of territory to design for you?
Okay. At first, I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate on 24 worldwide design conversations. It's a pleasure to integrate this net. Certainly, you amplify our vision and feelings about design and the new normal. About territory. When I was asked about the keyword for design challenges after the lockdown, the first word that came in my mind was território in Portuguese, territory in English. That's because during the pandemic, the ambiguity and simultaneity of perceptions about cities around the world was very strong for me. At the same time, a local and global phenomenon. Everyone in their own homes and connected to the network when possible. But the sense of territory beyond the physical limits is given by the communicative potential of a place, I believe. Its sounds and smells by people, memories, affections, and representations. In geography, territory usually refers to section of space occupied by individuals, social groups, or institutions. A piece of land, of power, and functional space. The term territory may also be used in a metaphoric sense. For instance, speaks about academic territories, referring to the way disciplines have their own internal power structures and boundaries and links to external territories. Societies, I believe that societies of the present and the future will inevitably require increasing openness and crossings of cultural, symbolical, legal, and physical boundaries between territories and a variety of spatial scales, from the local to the global. We are just experiencing this in this moment. Researchers should be read to deconstruct on the one hand, or respect on the other, the constitutive elements of territory, territoriality, boundaries, and identity narratives. I am considering as well the concept of territory by Milton Santos, a Brazilian geographer, who says the territory is the ground and people. That is an identity, the fact and the feeling of belonging to what belongs to us. The territory transitions from the borders between people to the limits of the body and affection between people. Milton Santos talks about use the territory, that it corresponds to any part of the territory, considering the interdependence and inseparability between its materiality and its use. In other words, the territory is both the result of the historical process and the material social basis of the new human actions. Another thing I would like to emphasize is the concept of affection. It must also be amplified in the contemporary world, where a transformation in the way of living is taking place within the process of new media developing, the life with the connectivity and virtuality of the internet. This transformation has been causing the emptying of everyday relationships between people and the places they inhabit. But what design has to do with territory? Everything we design is linked to a concept, to a context, a particular culture, to a place. The globalization process caused the design to cross borders. This also created several problems with respect to the environment and the need to think about products in a sustainable way, which has a connection with the territory and the local culture. We have neglected our ability to understand the things, the world, through the senses. And this was evident during the confinement period. Our memories of old daily life, the loved ones, the hugs, which for Brazilian people matters a lot. Those things emerge and make us wonder what the new normal will be like. The memories and narratives are important to design, to give a meaning to things. I am sure this pandemic period will generate many narratives, not only the ones, unfortunately. Well, I think I have answered about the concept of territory. What do you think?
Yes, a very interesting point of view. And but in São Paulo, how in the city of São Paulo experiencing the pandemic? What communicative manifestation reverse its identity in a potential territories?
Okay. Yes, see, as you see, at first I will describe city of São Paulo without this, out of this period. São Paulo, the normal city of São Paulo, it's a large multicultural territory derived from local inhabitants prior
Very
to
large.
Portuguese colonization, and also internal migrations from Brazil, from north to south in general, and immigration process from Spanish, Italians, Asians, Jews, as well as Portuguese and Spanish, the first ones. São Paulo is an international metropolis known for its economic and cultural aspects, concerts, shows, restaurants, universities, and so on. It has a general image, a conglomerate of buildings, many cars, intense urban life, full of people on the streets, in shops, shopping centers, as well in bars, restaurants, squares, on the subway, buses, and so on. A city that preserved its memory little, unfortunately. It was greatly impacted by the development of the mid-20th century, by modern design, also had a great impact on everyday life and the image of the city. But when you enter into the environment, you realize the identity of each place, its colors, smells, and territory, different territories with its own identity. Due to the confinement, the city emptied, pollution decreased. The collective urban communication by technology was established between people during the pandemic in São Paulo. Different kinds of communication inform us, in a way, different territories of the urban space. The middle class neighborhoods, the periphery, the gender groups, and so on. There is a spirit of solidarity and a desire to bring generate narratives, not only the one, unfortunately. So I think I have answered about the concept of territory. What do you think?
Yes, a very interesting point of view. And but in São Paulo, how in the city of São Paulo experiencing the pandemic? What communicative manifestation reverse its identity in a potential territories?
Okay. Yes, see, as you see, at first I will describe city of São Paulo without this, out of this period. São Paulo, the normal city of São Paulo, it's a large multicultural territory derived from local inhabitants prior
Very
to
large.
Portuguese colonization, and also internal migrations from Brazil, from north to south in general, and immigration process from Spanish, Italians, Asians, Jews, as well as Portuguese and Spanish, the first ones. São Paulo is an international metropolis known for its economic and cultural aspects, concerts, shows, restaurants, universities, and so on. It has a general image, a conglomerate of buildings, many cars, intense urban life, full of people on the streets, in shops, shopping centers, as well in bars, restaurants, squares, on the subway, buses, and so on. A city that preserved its memory little, unfortunately. It was greatly impacted by the development of the mid-20th century, by modern design, also had a great impact on everyday life and the image of the city. But when we enter into the environment, you realize the identity of each place, its colors, smells, and territory, different territories with its own identity. Due to the confinement, the city emptied, pollution decreased. The collective urban communication by technology was established between people during the pandemic in São Paulo. Different kinds of communication inform us, in a way, different territories of the urban space. The middle class neighborhoods, the periphery, the gender groups, and so on. There is a spirit of solidarity and a desire to bring people together. So music, singing, sounding noises, when banging pots to protest against the government. Collectives of artists made projections on buildings' gables with verbal messages, with political content. Others made projections like graffiti, or even messages of love. People sang or acted out of their windows. Due to these manifestations, the importance of affection and relationship between people in the urban environment is noted. Each of these manifestations has an original way of communicating, especially typography, colors, and sensorial messages. That was, I would like to say about São Paulo in the pandemic and what we are living.
Yes, yes, I understand very well, very well. From this your consideration, what impact will the design process suffer after the lockdown for you?
I believe COVID-19 accelerated a change in the perception of the importance of design for society and opened new paths in which consumers understand that the whole of design is to understand and identify changes in people's behavior and offer answers and solutions. The future of society as well as of design will probably not be about generating products anymore, but rather thinking about how to positively impact people with experiences, new services, and durable goods with more quality and less quantity in a general view. And
yes.
yes.
Okay. Yes, I don't hear. Clice?
See, yes. I would like
Can you
to
repeat? Can you repeat, please? Because the connection is not good in this moment. Sorry, and I'm very for me, it's very important your point of view of the role of the design in this moment for the future. And after your consideration, I think that if you want, you could explain through your research how your point of view will be joined in this future.
Okay. I was telling before that COVID accelerated change in the perception of the importance of design for society. Did you heard that? Yes. And the future as well as design will probably not be about generating products anymore. And thinking about how to positively impact people's experiences, new services and durable goods with more quality and less quantity. So I would like to talk about my experience, as you asked, so I can exemplify better what we are doing and what how we think. Well, I am an architect and designer, and currently I am the coordinator of the postgraduate course in design at the University of São Paulo. I also teach in undergraduate courses, and I am an advisor in the master and PhD program as well. At first, I would like to say in the postgraduate program of design, you are developing many kinds of investigation with different approaches, in example, perspectives on design through material culture, methods, techniques, and language on design process, visual images and narratives, user-centered design, graphic design and typography, and design teaching. I also wanted to highlight the initiatives that the faculty and some professors have been taken with regard to the pandemic, manufacturing masks on our prototyping laboratory, and participating in the international projects, the Design for Emergency.
Design for Emergency, and very
yes, there's a group, a research group that is working together this net. Particularly, my research area is communication and visual design. I coordinate a research group called the Design Environment and Interface. I usually work in 2 research areas with other students and researchers. The first one is about image and representation. We used to investigate the image of cities, their poetics, and storytelling, taking into account the complexity of the stimuli generated by these environments and the new technologies. Recently, a master's student called Mariana Demuth has developed research about the affective drawing of the child regarding their perception of the city. We've also been developing studies in the language of photography, photo books and picture books, which can synthesize a visual storytelling about a perception phenomenon. The second research line is about experimental and creative process design, in particular, playful products in interactive space. In this line, PhD student Anna Galeotti built a model to represent the language elements of audiovisual design from the form theory. She worked there.
Yes, it's clear. And your research, is your research already oriented towards some transformation in order to the lockdown, but in order of the transformation in perception of the city, of the space of our life? Is your research for the child, for example, or with your PhD students, oriented already toward a new future, a new research, or how to enjoy this transformation that you have explained?
Yes, the first student with the work with children, she worked in a school directly with children into a school, and they could go out to draw the square, and she was studying the affective drawing, and this has to be with the body in the space. And I think it would be very difficult to do something like that now, because we have to contemplate the distance. It's very difficult.
Yes.
But all the schools are working now with technology and distance. But it would be very difficult to, it's a question, this, because we can't be together anymore. We have to respect the distance between people.
It's so yes, for the child.
But
and then,
yes.
Yes, I'm very curiously, but about the effective design. What do you think in order of the keyword territory? I know that effective design, narrative, creation of meaning, identity is core of your research and of your interests. But about effective design, I think that you have talk when you explain the problem of the different perception in this period. And so can you explain this affective design?
Yes, this affective design has to be with perception, our senses, and with people. We have to be in contact, and also to work collaboratively with other researchers and with people in general.
The connection, the
connection,
network.
yes. And if possible, I would like to talk about other researchers as well.
Yes.
First, I can I can explain this affective design in another example. Also with Ana Maria, nowadays, at this moment, we are developing a postdoctoral project related to color as a way of expressing identity of the city.
It's clear now. Yes. Very well.
Particularly in degenerating, disqualified urban areas. We ask if color environmental interventions and support for resignification and appropriation of a local identity. And we intend to use technologies such as virtual and augmented reality to visualize the project, as well as verifying its results with the inhabitants. So there will be the participation of them to test, to prototype some experiences in color, and they can visualize these experiments directly in augmented and virtual reality.
Oh, very interesting.
It's an experience, but working together with inhabitants in this case. And another PhD student, Diego Rica, is now investigating the use of augmented reality in design process related to interactive educational artifacts, analyzing the contribution of this tool to overcome designers' difficulties in rapid and collaborative prototyping. So we work both to technology and not only technology, but the traditional
communication design. Yes,
hybrid method as well. We studied the drawings of children.
Yes,
they had to do not only technology. And finally, I would like to mention a postgraduate course that I am currently teaching, called the Experimental Process and Language in Visual Design.
Languages, very interesting, yes.
And which you, Daniela, have been kindly collaborating.
Yes. I hope. Yes.
Students are working on experimental projects based on COVID-19 theme. It's already possible to perceive some emotional and procedural directions regarding the theme. The lack of loved ones, for instance, generating image and photography narratives. One other, the daily looks through the window, shared at Instagram, generating systematic studies on the image of the routine. And another group studies the visualization of research data related to design process in the pandemic. And another, the memory and affection related to shared recipes, generating a card game, given that many are cooking at home in this period.
Oh, yes.
Sure,
I hope to see these beautiful works. I hope to see these works. Very interesting works. Yes, yes. And so we have a few minutes. And if you want to talk about your keywords with another word, the territory is for you like space of emotion or connection, or in a synthesis.
See, territory is like, see, it's like a space of emotion and identity.
Alterity.
Authority, yes.
Authority, yes. Yes, and now I have a little surprise for you and for all, because you have talked about the color, and we have with us Mario Bisson, that and this is a very surprise for me. Yes, yes. And a piece of Politecnico of Milan Department of Design for you. And so, in conclusion, I think Clice, I think that your contribute was precious and very clear. I'm very, very grateful to you, and I thanks you a lot, and I hope to meet you in Milan or in São Paulo. And okay, bye bye, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela.
Okay, bye bye.